His story begins in Buenos Aires, Argentina, not the traditional European setting we might expect for Pope. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in 1936, he was the eldest of 5 children in a family of Italian immigrants. His father worked as an accountant. Young Jorge attended a technical school and even worked for a time as a chemical technician. Before embarking on his religious path, he took on various jobs, including working as a bouncer and a janitor. It's a background that always seemed to ground him in the lives of ordinary people. At 21, after recovering from a severe illness that led to part of a lung being removed, Bergoglio felt a strong call to religious life. He joined the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, in 1958. This was a significant choice. The Jesuits have a unique history of direct service and intellectual rigor, sometimes marked by complex relations with the Holy See. After years of study, including humanities in Chile and philosophy in Buenos Aires, he was ordained a Catholic priest in 1969. He rose quickly within the order, serving as the Jesuit provincial superior in Argentina from 1973 to 1979. This was a turbulent time in Argentina, marked by the military dictatorship and the Dirty War. Allegations would later surface regarding his actions during this period, including claims about 2 Jesuit priests who were kidnapped. Bergoglio's authorized biographer states he worked behind the scenes to secure their release, even offering his own identity papers to help someone escape. One of the kidnapped priests initially accused Bergoglio, but later clarified that he did not denounce them. Human rights activists and others who knew him during this time offered varied accounts. Some praised his discreet help, others wished he had spoken out more forcefully. He himself stated he worked in secret because overt actions weren't feasible. After his term as provincial, he continued in academic and pastoral roles. In 1992, he was appointed auxiliary bishop of Buenos Aires. He chose a motto drawn from Saint Bede, by having mercy and by choosing him, reflecting a central theme of his later papacy. His relationship with some within the Jesuit order became strained, leading him to largely live outside Jesuit residences in the years before becoming pope. As Archbishop of Buenos Aires, a role he took on in 1998, Bergoglio became known for his simple lifestyle. He lived in a small apartment, took public transport, and cooked his own meals. He focused heavily on serving the city's poor, often visiting the shanty towns. This earned him the nickname Slum Bishop. He also took steps to reform the archdiocese's finances, selling bank shares and enforcing stricter discipline after the church faced near bankruptcy. In 2001, Pope John Paul II made him a cardinal. He wasn't a frequent figure in Rome, preferring to stay close to his flock in Argentina. However, he did attend the 2005 papal conclave following John Paul II's death. Reports based on an anonymous cardinal's diary suggest he was the main challenger to Cardinal Ratzinger, who would become Benedict XVI. He even received a significant number of votes before reportedly asking cardinals not to vote for him to avoid a prolonged conclave. After Benedict XVI's unexpected resignation in 2013, Cardinal Bergoglio participated in the new conclave. On the second day, March 13th, white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel, signaling a new pope had been elected on the 5th ballot. When introduced from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, he offered a simple good evening. He asked the people to pray for him, striking an immediate note of humility and informality. He chose the name Francis, a first for a pope. He explained later that as the voting reached its conclusion, a fellow cardinal whispered, "Don't forget the poor." This immediately brought to mind St. Francis of Assisi, known for his love of the poor, nature, and peace. It was a name that signaled the direction he intended to take the church. From the outset, Francis adopted a less formal style than his predecessors. He chose to live not in the opulent papal apartments, but in the Domus Sancti Marthi, Domus Sancti Marthi guest house. He used simpler vestments, wore the same pectoral cross he had as a cardinal, and chose a silver ring over a gold one. These gestures, while symbolic, underscored his emphasis on humility and service over pomp and tradition. He was elected with a mandate for reform, particularly concerning the Roman Curia and Vatican finances. He established a council of cardinal advisors to help restructure the Curia. He tackled the long-troubled Vatican Bank, appointing commissions and ordering investigations to increase transparency and combat allegations of corruption and money laundering. He wasn't afraid to replace key figures appointed under his predecessor. His major writings outlined his vision. His first apostolic exhortation, Evangelii Gaudium, Evangelii Gaudium was seen as a roadmap. It emphasized evangelization, mercy, and concern for the marginalized. His encyclical Laudato Si focused on environmental protection and climate change. This was a topic he made a priority. Another, Fratelli Tutti, Fratelli Tooti, explored fraternity and social friendship. These documents, particularly Amoris Laetitia, Amoris Laetitia on family life, sometimes sparked theological disagreements. This was notable concerning the reception of communion for divorced and remarried Catholics, prompting formal requests for clarification from some cardinals. Addressing the Church's sexual abuse crisis was a significant challenge. Early in his papacy, he faced criticism for his handling of specific cases. He was criticized for initially supporting a Chilean bishop accused of cover-up, though he later admitted grave errors and accepted the bishop's resignation. He convened a global summit on abuse in 2019 and later issued reforms. These included abolishing pontifical secrecy in abuse cases, although victims' advocates continued to call for more transparency and direct cooperation with civil authorities. His approach to LGBTQ issues marked a notable shift in tone, even while maintaining traditional doctrine on marriage. His famous "Who am I to judge?" remark humanized the discussion. While opposing same-sex marriage, he expressed support for civil unions as a way to provide legal protections. He stated that laws criminalizing homosexuality are unjust and a sin. A controversial 2023 document, Fiducia Supplicans, Fiducia Supplicans, allowed for non-liturgical blessings of individuals in same-sex relationships. This prompted varied reactions, including outright rejection from some Episcopal conferences. Reflecting the spirit of his namesake, Francis strongly emphasized care for creation. Laudato Si, was a powerful call to action on climate change and environmental degradation. It criticized consumerism and overdevelopment. He continued to speak out on these issues, even proposing ecocide as an international crime. He saw environmental responsibility as intrinsically linked to social justice and concern for the poor. A consistent theme throughout his papacy was the option for the poor. He criticized economic systems that create inequality, speaking out against trickle-down economics. He supported the idea of a universal basic income and called for higher taxes on billionaires in his later years. He saw popular movements as vital forces for change, rooted in solidarity with the marginalized. This sometimes led to accusations from conservatives of having a soft spot for leftist ideas. Francis played a notable role in international diplomacy. He helped broker the restoration of diplomatic relations between the United States and Cuba. He engaged with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, becoming the first pope to visit Theodore Herzl's grave and signing the Vatican's first treaty recognizing the State of Palestine. His efforts regarding Russia and Ukraine were more complex. While condemning the war and suffering, his approach of dialogue and avoidance of direct criticism of Putin drew criticism from some. They felt it undermined the Vatican's role as a potential mediator. Entering the papacy at 76, Francis experienced health issues over the years, including the effects of the lung surgery from his youth. Knee problems and sciatica led to him frequently using a wheelchair or cane. This openness about his physical limitations resonated with many. In his final years, he faced respiratory infections and underwent abdominal surgery. This prompted some speculation about resignation, which he dismissed. He stated he was in a new, slower phase of his papacy. After a period of declining health, marked by hospitalizations and reduced public appearances, Pope Francis died on Easter Monday, April 21, 2025, at the age of 88. His last public act was his Easter Sunday address, where he again called for peace in Gaza. His death, caused by a stroke, brought an end to a transformative papacy that sought to refocus the Catholic Church on mercy, poverty, and reaching the peripheries of the world. In accordance with his wishes, he will be buried in the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, Santa Maria Maggiore. This is a deviation from the traditional papal burial site in St. Peter's Basilica and another symbol of his unique path. Pope Francis's papacy was marked by a determination to shake up the status quo, pushing the Church towards greater synodality, synodalit, and decentralization. He appointed a significant majority of the cardinals who would elect his successor, intentionally diversifying the college away from European dominance. While he maintained core doctrines, his pastoral approach and openness to dialogue on complex social issues drew both immense praise and sharp criticism. His legacy will undoubtedly be debated for years to come, centered on his efforts to make the Church a more merciful, humble, and outward-facing institution, one that truly has the smell of the sheep.